It's weird if you don't make a minimum of like $25,000 a month. Like that's a weird thing if you don't.
It's weird if you're not making over $25,000.
It's literally weird.
Explain your relationship with PBD when you worked at PHP.
Dude, we were rallied up. You don't even care what you're selling or how to sell it. You just want it to be in the same line.
Dylan Smith was mentored by Patrick Bet-David
and used what he learned selling life insurance at PHP
to start his own life insurance company.
Not a single person I've spoken to over the age of 25 years old that says, yes, you should go to school. Not a single person, honest to God.
I don't know, Dylan. I think it's priceless sometimes.
Hey everybody, before we start this podcast, I have a quick opportunity. Whoever comments a question and gets the most likes, that question I will ask next week's guest. But the catch is you have no idea who the guest is. So be wise, ask a creative question, and enjoy the episode.
Dylan Smith. So I've got a funny story about how we met and why he's on this podcast right now that I'll get into for a second. But what I will say, when I met the kid, where we were talking very, very briefly. And probably in the first 5 seconds of speaking with him, boom, I could tell this kid was about it. Not because of the location where we're at or whatever we're doing, but just the way he's talking. Some people can just talk with conviction. And I have a lot of respect for that, Dylan. But for the people who don't know who you are, convince them why they should listen to us talk for the next hour and a half.
It's very simple. Who do you know at our age doing what we're doing, putting the numbers up there? Because anybody could say they're doing it, but you got to see pay stubs. You got to be able to back what you say with numbers because everybody knows boys lie, girls lie, numbers don't lie. Numbers, that's the answer. Numbers are proof. That's why people should listen. There's proof in the pudding.
Okay, so break down then. How would you describe who you are and what is it that you do?
So who I am, Dylan Smith. I was born and raised in Freehold, New Jersey, Central Jersey, Monmouth County. Well, Central Jersey, if you guys believe that. I know I'm going to get a lot of people in the chat going crazy about that. I am 22 years old. I started in the life insurance space when I was 17 and a half. My sister actually got me into it. I'll tell you my story briefly. So I was 17 years old. I'm a senior in high school. My sister, she was 26 at the time. And what she was doing at the time was life insurance and real estate, living out in San Diego, California. She's 2,000 miles across the country. And my sister knew at 17, I was very outgoing. I never went to college. I always wanted to, run a big business, become an entrepreneur. I just had no plan. There was no direction. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So very long story short, my sister lays both businesses out, life insurance and real estate. Says, Dylan, what would you rather do instead of go to college? Life insurance or real estate? Now, guys, I'm looking at these, YouTube videos, these TikTok videos. These guys are doing 2 million, doing 5 million, 10 million in a month, completely passively. They're all doing real estate. Sarah, sign me up, real estate. I'm sold. It's all I wanted to do. And she asked me, she goes, Dylan, who do you know at 17 years old that is buying a house? Absolutely nobody. Who do you know at 17 years old that needs a life insurance policy? Anthony, at the time, I'm like, life insurance? Like 17, not married, no kids, don't own a house. I'm obviously not planning to die anytime soon. So there was a very, very big disconnect there. And the reasoning, number one, why I need a life insurance, let alone get licensed, broker it, help people with it. So we're definitely going to get into this, me and Anthony, later on the podcast. But there were some newer products introduced to the market, and they are very, very lucrative. They kind of tailored these products and plans to younger people like us. And, they kind of made it out to be like a retirement plan. So that's how I got into the industry. That's my story. I've been working for insurance now for, what's it been, 4.5 years. This January will be 5 years full time.
Okay. And so before we get into more specifically life insurance, I'll share the story of how we met. So we were at a steak restaurant in New York City. And you and your girlfriend were sitting right next to us. And I can't remember. I think the combo got started from tater tots. I think we looked over and it's like, those tater tots look really good. And you're like, oh, yeah, you should try them, whatever. We start talking. I'm like, I asked you what you do. You said life insurance. And immediately after you said life insurance, I'm like, one of the guys that I look up to the most in society, Patrick Bet-David, was in the life insurance industry. I wonder if you've heard of him. And then you drop the bomb that you've gone and you worked at his company and you've sat in meetings with him. And essentially mentored with him. And I'm like, holy cow. I really, really want to soak all of this knowledge in and learn about it. And I know other people out there want to hear the same thing. So speaking about, before we get into your story and the life insurance, explain your relationship with PBD when you worked at PHP.
So yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but Patrick Bet-David had or he runs an insurance company. It's called PHP, stands for People Helping People, which I love that name. I cannot lie. And I got started in the industry. Now he's, kind of disconnected from it. He's doing a lot of his like Valuetainment, his YouTube. He's got his own personal brand that he's running, and which blew up. So I mean, congratulations to him. He's a really, really good dude. And really, the experience I had was I was a young, up and coming, relatively big producer at the time. And compared to now, it's same game, different level. But at the time, 18 years old, it was a lot in the beginning. And game sees game, kind of what you said in the beginning, where like the first 5 seconds you could just kind of tell. I don't know if that's just me or people see that. I don't know, like to my own horn, but that's something I've heard a lot in my life where like they kind of just instantly could tell, like, all right, this guy's got it. Like we can do something with him. So I guess he had that same kind of thought, if you will. And I would be on these meetings and putting up these numbers and just really his coaching, his mentorship. Obviously, he's not going to give his training and coaching to brand new agents because it's a little bit more advanced, if you will. And just leadership training, how to sell better, how to rally. He talked a lot about culture. He built multiple companies and they're massive $100 million plus companies, and it's all about culture. So I do want to get into that as well.
So you were in meetings with him, is what you're saying?
Oh yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Okay, so describe what that's like. So the energy you walk into a meeting, are people like this waiting for him or talking? Are they, relaxed a little bit? Are they super nervous? What is the feeling like in a meeting with Patrick Bet-David?
So that's a really, really good question. And I'm happy that you said, are they, like nervous? Like how's like the energy before? And the one thing with him and his company and his people, dude, we were rallied up, fired up for every single meeting. We're running, like literally running around doing like everyone's in a circle and we're all like smacking hands with each other. And it's just the culture, the energy, just like you don't even care what you're selling or how to sell it. You just want it to be in the same ring. And also his presence, nobody was really nervous for him because it was a very like open environment that people can all be themselves. But there was like the elephant in the room, like this guy's the real deal. Like he's serious, where it's like you kind of got to, tighten up a little bit and like, kind of sit up when he gets in the room. But it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this guy is like super, super famous, or he's a very down to earth guy. He's a really good dude. And the guy that you see on social media, him helping people, really putting his 2 cents in, he is a good person. He spoke a lot about, relationships and having a wife and, how to treat people. And, it was more than just sales. It really was.
And so I actually met him once, and I went up to him.
Guy.
He is a tall guy, bro. He's a very tall guy. But I met him once, and I shook his hand. And something that really stood out to me right away is he asked me what my name was. Like he flips it back on you, and I was like, it's just a good guy right there. But on the topic of culture, I can imagine like it's hard to get. I've seen his conferences like the Vault and or whatever PHP, and people are doing chants when there's a speaker on stage. It's not easy to get an army of people that are doing that stuff. I'm just trying to figure out from a culture standpoint, how does he actually get people to get that bought in and fired up in a meeting when a speaker comes, etc.?
Well, one thing that was very common between everyone, new agents who started, myself included, was it was like, oh, like it's a little weird. Like, why you guys are chanting like that? That's how I felt. That's how every new agent feels. That there's always like the one guy or girl who's like the odd man out, who like really buys into it instantly. But it's usually after like a day or two, or maybe like for me, it took a couple weeks to kind of get like used to that, because I was always that like too cool for school kind of guy. I'm like, oh, I'm not like that script doesn't sound like me, and like the big ego kind of guy when I first started in the industry, and I've learned a lot from them. And, that's just the guys on the truth had a huge ego. And I was like, it's a little bit weird, because they would do these chants and it was like, like, and like everyone kind of says like their mission statement for their team. And then everyone would be like, boom, you're like PHP. And like everyone would, chant. And I was like, you guys are grown men and women. Like, that's a little weird. How did he get people to do it though? it's just once you get more comfortable and like once you know people more, it's after hours in the office, you're kind of talking about like, oh, you're married, you have kids, like what are your kids into? And you really start to, meet these people on a different level. It's a lot more like, oh, this guy's just like me. This girl's just like me. Like they're all involved in this chant. Like it's just a culture. Like people want to be a part of something. So in the beginning, you may be like, oh, it's a little bit weird. But once you realize like, their mission statement, the money that these guys are making, like that's the kind of like, holy cow, like I want to be a part of this. It wasn't like as uncomfortable after a couple weeks.
Yeah. If there was one word that you would use to describe him as a leader, what do you think that word would be? And then my follow-up question would be, do you have a story about it, why you would give him that word?
There's a lot of words. I mean, that's a very, very, very loaded question. I would say change. That would be the word to describe him, is change.
Change.
Change. The reason people follow that man, and I learned a lot from him, his vision is so big. It's like you have to be sick in your effing head. Like really, like you're going to do that in your lifetime. Like you have to be sick in your head. And his vision was saving America. That was his vision from financial illiteracy. Like he wants to save America and educate people on finances, on politics, on, just how to live your life, how to get closer to God, how to treat your wife, how to treat other people. There's change. I guess if there's two words, there's implementation and change. Those are the two words I would describe, but definitely change.
Okay. Do you have any crazy, like, standout stories that just come to mind that have kind of just changed a lot about your identity or who you are, or you as a businessman from him?
Yeah, there's a lot of one-liners, that he would give, and I would really be like, wow, like that is powerful. Like it kind of makes you think at night, like you're laying in the shower or something, you're laying in bed, you got your own thoughts, and you're like, wow, like you got to sit back and think about that. So, yeah, I mean, there wasn't necessarily one like major, event or meeting that happened that was like, this is where it changes, or, this is like the standout moment, if you will. But I will say there was a meeting that he ran. This was however many years ago, probably at this point, 4 years ago. I was very, very new into the business. And something that Patrick Bet-David did, and he did this, I don't know if it was every week or every month, it was like 4 years ago. And this was just his standard. The same way that you said he would, went up to you and, hey, what's your name? He would go, I don't know if it was every week or every month, and he would call out every single agent that like got promoted. If it was like a director to a marketing director, and like, you could be a week into the business, and if you get that promotion, he would just read your name out on, a grand list on like his big, like company meetings. And, it was very, very eye-opening to see like this guy with his schedule, how busy he is, that he'll get on a call where that hour of his time could be worth more with his accountant, with his real estate professional, with his, top agent, but he would go with the whole company. And it wasn't really anything he would talk about besides like congratulating people, but the company was so big that he would just, take him 45 minutes to an hour to go through. I don't know if it was, like I said, every week or every month, but and my name the first week wasn't called, or the first month wasn't called, but just seeing that where it's like, this guy is like in the trenches with us. Like he is in the field.
Interesting. And so I went to one of his workshops. I did it virtual. It was the business planning workshop. And I remember seeing him, like he's giving this over Zoom, whatever, but right away something stuck out. He comes in here and he mentions right away that some of his executives were late to the thing, and he just locked the door. He wouldn't let them in. It's the biggest thing of the year. He's not letting some of his executives in. There's another thing with one of, I don't know, someone who made the actual PowerPoint mess something up, and he's reading it, and he calls out that person in front of everyone. Another thing that comes to mind is like, this guy's just very, very intense. And I'm sure that stuff probably rubbed off on you. Intensity, high standards. How have you taken some of that type of culture and leadership style and implemented it in your own business?
To be very clear, before I answer your question, every single meeting with that man you had to qualify for. There could be 10,000 people on that call. If you did not hit a certain amount of numbers, you cannot attend that call. Everything, the standard was through the roof. If you did not qualify, you would not be in the same room as him. That's just how it is. And the standards, if you're late, you lock the door. If you go to the bathroom during his meeting, you're not allowed back in. Very simple.
Really? If you go to the bathroom during the meeting, you can't come back in.
It's $1 million P is what they called it. Because that bathroom break you just took, that was $1 million piece of information, or $1 million line, or $1 million sentence that you just missed out on. It's exactly what he was saying.
So what types of stuff like that have you stole from him and implemented in your own business with what you're doing?
A lot of it, really. It's people want standards. People don't want to just be like, it's the same ways like when you recruit someone to your business, people want what they can't have. So instead of opening up your arms like, hey, everybody come join me, everybody come work with me, it's like, why should you work with me? Why should you be in this room with these absolute dogs, with these people submitting so much business in the life insurance space? Why should you be in the same room as us? Why do you deserve to be here? You don't think that person's going to, kick it into high gear and really prove to themselves, not just be like, oh, it's a room everybody can get into. My, the standards are there is no standard. It's like they just can kind of come and do what they want when they want. We have the same rule, man, 10 a.m. And that is like late. 10 a.m. is like, I'm the nicest guy on earth. The latest you can get to the office is 10 a.m. If you don't, the door's shut, door's locked. I mean, there is no legitimate reason why you cannot be in the office before 10 a.m. Monday through Saturday. There's no reason. Doors locked.
Have you had stories where
It's happened today.
It happened today?
Yes. I don't want to say it's a daily occurrence, but it happens most likely once a week.
So I think the fine line where sometimes it could get tough. From your perspective, I don't know how close you are to people in your office or employees and stuff like that, but I'm just thinking, like, if you're friends with someone or you're trying to please someone, I think that's when it gets tough. How do you separate that fine line of like friendship, not trying to be, I don't know, ruining relationships, whatever you call it, besides just having high standards?
Let me be very, very, very clear. We are not here to make friends. We are here to make money. You can make friends later. Here's my thing, Anthony. This is a problem with a lot of people. This is what Patrick Bet-David would preach a lot. Accountability is the problem with Americans and the world really today. And think about that. Like, the word accountability. He did it, and he spilled the milk, and it's not my fault because he maybe just shut the F up, take accountability. Hey, this was my fault. I'm sorry. 30-second apology and move on with your life. That's the problem. So if you set the standard, and really before you become accountable, you have to set the standard. If you start a business, a job, a career, you learn how to run, and you do it the right way the first time, that is the standard. There's no other way of doing it. So that's what I preach, where it's like, oh, well, this guy's being an asshole. He's being a dickhead. He's being hardcore. It's like, no, I'm not. That's just the standard. You knew the rules. I have every single rule in my office is posted on a massive 24 by 36 posted out a printed out poster in a picture frame. It's not like you didn't know the rules. They're right here.
Yeah.
So instead of sitting here and being like, oh, well, no, you got to be accountable. You got here at 10:03 this morning. What happened? I slept in. You know what that kid told me 3 weeks ago? You know what he told me 3 weeks ago?
What?
Anthony, this kid told me that he got pulled over on the way here. I said, good, show me a picture. Show me a ticket. I didn't get a ticket. Okay, good, show me a picture. You got pulled over. Couldn't do it. He's tripping over his words. I was like, dude, I'm not going to like come after you. I'm not a Nazi. Just, it's okay. Just don't lie to my face. That's the accountability that I'm talking about. And you know what I've learned as well, people like that about me. Because number one, I'm never going to lie to you. I'm never going to cheat you. I'm never going to steal from you. If I'm this direct, remember what I told you before the call? Do I have permission to be direct? We'll get to that definitely. But, if I am so direct with you in the beginning and I'm like, wow, he's going to be that blunt. Like, this guy's not lying. Like, he can't lie about anything. Like, he's got the balls to tell me that the first day or first week of me meeting him. I can't pull a fast one on this guy. That's really what it comes down to. It's just, I get so fired up about this stuff because it's so easy. It's so easy to win. It's so easy to set a standard. So easy to be accountable. You just have to show up and learn it the right way the first time. So that's the only thing you know. There's no other wrong way.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, it's front loading. It's being very transparent and front loading all standards. It's literally,
you know what I call it, Anthony? I don't mean to cut you
What?
off. You know what I call it? Or what everyone in sales does, they sell people a dream. I don't sell you a dream. I sell you a nightmare. Dude, this is early mornings. It's late nights. It's gym every day. You will look good. You will smell good. You will show up with a good attitude. That's the standard. And if you give that to people day one, they're like, man, this guy's serious. Like, okay, well, and I show them my deposits and they're like, okay, so all I have to do to make that kind of money is just do exactly what you do. It's that simple. It literally is that simple.
So I think something about life insurance is it has a stigma around it. I know a lot of people, Northwestern Mutual, they reached out to me, and this was a while back. I was going to work for Northwestern Mutual, but the joke around my town, and I post on social media, people like, oh, this guy's going and he's going to work for fucking Northwestern Mutual, all this shit. So there is a stigma around life insurance. But on the flip side of that, you see a lot of very young people making a boatload of money in this industry. And so help me and the person who's not too familiar with this, paint us a picture about how much money you can really make in this industry at such a young age.
So that's a very, very good question. And yes, you are correct. There's a lot of people, young people, especially in this industry, that are making an absolute killing selling life insurance. Now, here's two things you have to consider when you get into business. Number one, is it a recession-proof industry? If a recession happens, if the economy goes down, which, every point of the year, I don't care who's in office, president, red, blue, where you swing, it means nothing to me. Every year, the stock market will fluctuate up and down. It's just how it is. And just the market period, the housing market, the economy, the price of goods, everything's up and down. You have to consider, is it a recession-proof industry? And number two, you have to consider, is it a product that everyone needs? Is it a need or is it a want? It is a need. Everyone is going to die. There's two things that are guaranteed in life: death and taxes. Nothing you can do to get around. Taxes is one thing, but you will pay some sort of tax. It's guaranteed. You got to pay it, whether it's $100 or $100 million. You're paying something in taxes, or at least at some point in your life. That's what you have to consider. So you also have to know, okay, who you're in business with. The partners you choose are very, very important. The system that you're a part of, the company, the company is really the main thing. And then the systems come with what company you choose. The structure of the company. Is it a recruiting-based company? Is it a captive agency? Is it a brokerage? What is the commission level of the compensation that you're starting at? Are you learning from somebody who just wants to mass recruit and bring all these people on because they think they can make a lot of money doing it? Or are you getting with someone that's proven themselves and, has had a team for themselves and proven to you that, hey, it's not just me making money. I can teach other people how to do it. There's a lot that you have to consider. But once those things are considered and you get into an industry like this, it's weird if you don't make a minimum of like $25,000 a month. Like, that's a weird thing if you don't in this industry.
It's weird if you're not making over $25,000.
It's literally weird. And I don't mean that as like super cocky or like dickhead way. Like, it's literally weird. Like, ask anyone who's got a brain in between their two eyes, and they will tell you it is such a duplicatable and scalable industry that if you've been doing it for a minimum of 6 months and you're not doing 25 grand a month, there's something off with you and your system. It's very,
so
very
how long did it take you to get over 25,000 per month?
So here's the thing with me. I was with a company before that didn't provide leads. The comp wasn't, really where it should have been. And that was something that took me a very, very long time. So month 5 for me, I got paid like $13,000. It was my mom's annuity I rolled over. So that was like, obviously it's a client, it's real money, but it's like, it's my mom, like, thanks, mom.
Yeah. But
until I really started to with like a real client, I would say it took me probably 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay.
And that's a God's honest number. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's it took me, 14 days to make all that money. I was with the wrong company.
And what are you at right now?
Where am I at right now? Monthly?
Yeah.
Last month I deposited 32, maybe.
And so what does deposit mean? Is that like a write-off, or
deposit means like, what if I show you a bank statement right now, it's 32,000. Like, literally right now I can show you.
Okay, wow. Okay, so this is a very lucrative industry. But I'm trying to figure out, because something you said at the start is you're like, what 17-year-old is buying a house? Nobody. What 17-year-old is buying life insurance? And the answer to that question for me is, who's buying life insurance at 17? Like, I had a friend who works at Northwestern Mutual, and he reached out to me a couple weeks ago. And he's on the phone, and I'm like, bro, like I was 21 at the time. I just turned 22. I'm like, why would I buy any of this stuff right now? But tell me why that I should be.
So I'll tell you the story. So what happened was the life insurance industry, the industry as a whole, it took a drastic turn for the good. Now, what happened was these insurance companies, they took a massive step back. This was about 5 or 10 years ago. They reevaluated everything. They said, okay, all of these people, they're going to get this money anyway when they pass away. So why not let them just use it when they're still alive?
Okay.
Anthony, it completely changes the game. It is a night and day difference. So these insurance companies, they introduced a product. It's called an indexed universal life. It is a cash value life insurance policy. To make it long story short, it's a whole life or permanent life insurance policy. The monthly premiums that you contribute, they get directly tied to the stock market. They've been averaging around 5 to 15% a year. Keep in mind, those products and plans are compounding interest every year. Now, another cool part about these products is they're like a retirement plan. So in the future, when you go to withdraw the money, it's accessible to you 100% tax-free, and very similar to a bank account. It's not like the stock market where it fluctuates up and down. Because it's an insurance product, they can guarantee no loss. So the principal that you put in, meaning the money that you put in, plus the interest earned, it's guaranteed not to fluctuate. So whatever number you see in that account, it'll never go lower than that. It can only go up.
So it's like a Roth IRA to an extent.
Exactly. So it's a great point. So it's most comparable to a Roth IRA. The two differences, or really the three main differences of this and a Roth IRA. Number one, you have to wait until you're 59 and a half to take out the money without penalties and fees in a Roth IRA. There's no taxes in a Roth IRA. With an IUL, it's usually around the 1 to 2 year waiting period, depending on how much you put into it and the rest of it. So consider about 1 year after a year, you take that money out. That's the first point. The second point between a Roth IRA and a IUL, there's an income problem with the Roth IRA. A lot of people don't know this. If you make, and you can look this up, if you make over $153,000 a year and you file to the IRS single, you're not married, the government says you make too much money, you are no longer able to participate in this product. You can look it up right now, $153,000. If you file single, if it's joint, you're married, it's $203,000. So an IUL, I have 2 IULs. I put about $1,000 a month into mine. I couldn't do that. That brings me to point number 3. I couldn't do that with the Roth IRA or with the Roth IRA. With the Roth IRA, they just upped the limit from $6,000 a year to $7,000 a year. And if you're over the age of 50, it's $8,000 a year that you could put into it. So which is, $8,000 a year is however much a month. I put $12,000 a year into my IUL. So you know what they call an IUL? Cash value life insurance policy. They call it a rich man's Roth IRA. So they made this product, they made the industry as a whole a lot more attractive for younger people like us to get into the industry and actually believe in what we sell. Instead of like, oh, it's just life insurance, it's car insurance. Like, they're just kind of, pushing products because that's what their boss tells you to do or tells them to do. With this, it's like, you really believe in it. Like, you're going to get a product like this for yourself when you sell it, because it's like, numbers don't lie. Like, why am I not investing in one of these things myself? So it's made it a lot more attractive to get into the industry.
And one question I was going to ask you, I'm like, Dylan, do you invest in the product that you're selling?
Of course. What kind of man am I if I'm selling what I don't already own? Of course, I have 2 of these things.
Okay, so good to know. And so moving on to, like you just mentioned, you're depositing, what was it, $32,500 per month.
Well, that was last month. The month before that, I did $74,000. So it was a very slow month for me, $30,000. I average around 40 or 50 a month.
So averaging around 40, 50, and that's taking home in your bank account.
That's
correct?
In profit, pure profit. My office rent is $6,000 a month. My other bills, I would say, are about $4,000 a month. Social media team and everything else. CRMs, leads.
Yeah, 50,000. You had a month 70,000, it's just mind blowing numbers at such a young age. But that stuff doesn't happen unless Your sister has that conversation with you and says, what do you want to do? Do you want to do life insurance or do you want to do real estate? Or do you want to go to college? You scrapped real estate, you scrapped college. I'm trying to figure out, as a 17-year-old kid, what events in your life pushed you towards the decision to not go to college?
That's a great question. And I think everybody knows the answer to this. Every motherfucking person I've ever spoken to in my entire life, 30-year-old, 25-year-old, 35-year-old, 40, and these guys are in positions that I'm looking to be in. What are you going to school for? I don't go to college. Dude, that's the best decision you could have made. There is not a single, Anthony, not a single person I've spoken to. I'll put my right hand on the Bible right now. Not a single person I've spoken to over the age of 25 years old that says, yes, you should go to school. Not a single person, honest to God.
You don't think there's a single one?
No, I'm telling you, from the people I've spoken to in my career, and these aren't doctors and lawyers and engineers. These are salespeople. These are entrepreneurs. These are business owners.
Yeah.
Every single one, without a shadow of a doubt. I will swear on the Bible, there's not a single person, Anthony, that has told me, Dylan, it's a good thing to go to school. Not a single one.
Okay, so I understand your point. So you're listening from people that are in the spot where you want to be, which I think is a
Correct.
fantastic method. Okay, but on the side of college, in your opinion, why are you so opposed to it?
I'm so opposed to college because I want every young person, and even older person who graduated school, if you did graduate school, to look back in your position right now. Are you in college because you want to be in college? That's the first thing. Are you in school because your parents are making you be in school? Like, do you want to be there or your parents forcing you? It's the first thing you have to consider. Number two, some people say, well, yeah, I do want to be in school. I do want to. Okay, great. What's your major? What are you currently doing? Oh, well, I'm still figuring it out. I just spoke to somebody yesterday. They said, I'm still figuring it out. This girl couldn't drive 45 minutes to my office because she didn't have money for gas. And she's like, yeah, I got to go buy the books for school this year. I said, okay, great. What are you going to school for? And then she said psychology or communications or something like that. I said, okay, good. What's the plan? Like, is that like what do you want to do when you graduate? Oh, well, I chose this major because I don't really know. People have no idea what they're even doing. They are in school to figure it out. Anthony, it's upwards of $80,000 a year to go to college. Why can't you save $80,000 a year and figure this stuff out by getting into the work field and still getting paid, having benefits maybe through work? Because what the sad reality is, people are going to go to school, they're going to graduate, and they're going to do the same job, or they're going to work the same job that they could have with or without a college degree. But what happened in college? You drank every night. You smoked weed every night, probably doing cocaine, probably trying some other drugs like the pills at the concerts and the raves all these kids go to. Like, tell me a positive thing that you can think of besides networking with the kids in school, but you're also networking with a bunch of bigger losers because they're doing the same shit you're doing on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's the 7 days a week. It's the same shit. Drinking, smoking, going out, having sex. Like, do what you want to do in school. And what's the one thing I always talk to guys about? And then this was the answer to everything. Dude, I don't want to get into something like this now. Like, let me enjoy myself when I'm young and let me still, go to school and enjoy myself and just kind of ride it all out. I want to work when I'm later. I don't want to worry about this now. And that, I mean, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's very, very simple.
You seem like a guy that would enjoy a little bit of a debate and pushing back at some point.
Please, I would love this.
Absolutely. So I just did graduate college, and I think there's a blessing and a curse of having quote unquote internet gurus and people on YouTube saying, screw college completely. You don't need that. Go entrepreneurship. I think it's a blessing because I listen to that stuff so much and it got me so fired up about this game of building businesses. But on the flip side of that, I actually do think there is value in college. And I will say the number one thing that college gave me, and a lot of this is dependent on circumstance. I want to make that very clear.
Of course.
Number one, cost. If your parents are covering it, if they're not, the type of school you go to plays a ginormous effect on your experience in college. But the number one thing college gave me is it gave me the ability to reinvent myself. Me 4 years ago was not at all the same kid I am today. And if I did not go to that school in a completely different environment where every single person was so different than me and challenged every single one of my beliefs, I would not be living in New York City right now. I would not have a social media brand. I would not be speaking to you. None of that would have happened. And it is the people But the people sometimes, and me and my roommate, we get in this debate a lot. I don't know, Dylan. I think it's priceless sometimes. And of course you can meet those types of people, but it by yourself, but it's not always that easy. I'm curious on what your take
know,
is.
Anthony, I'm very, very happy that we're doing this right now, because that is a phenomenal answer. And I do want to speak about that, because the answer you gave is probably what a lot of people think. And here's my opinion. This is what makes the world go round. That, like, you believe in what you believe in, I believe what I believe in, and
Yeah.
whether we agree or disagree, the world still moves. We're all still moving forward. We're all going to die one day. Here's what I want to say about that. A lot of people, at least in my area, in Jersey, Monmouth County, very, very beautiful area, a lot of money in this area. A lot of these people, they're going to school for the wrong reasons. They're going there to be like, yo, I'm going to Alabama, I'm going to LSU, I'm going to whatever other school. What's the school in California, the blue one?
UCLA.
UCLA, like all these big party schools, Penn State, whatever. And these guys go to all these big party schools, and they're going to party. So I completely agree with the fact that it really does depend on the school that you go to.
Yeah.
Now, something else I want to bring up, they're going to school for those reasons. They're like, oh, I'm going to go to school for business. My dad's got me, my mom's got me. So everyone's got their own little story. But I do want to touch on the fact that you said you completely reinvented yourself in school. Anthony, the man I am today is unrecognizable. I would not, and that's not even an exaggeration, I would not be able to tell you this would be me in my life when I was 15, 16, 17, still in high school. Night and day difference. Aunts and uncles don't recognize me for the person I used to be. Friends now, everyone's really like, I've been doing this so long, they see me as this person. Did I have to spend $80,000 a year, or $50,000 or $10,000 or $1,000 a semester, whatever it comes out to go to school and get those skills? What I did was I made money along the way. And let's be very real. This is not for everyone. It's really not. I'm working 18 hours a day. People can't do it. It's completely understandable. I get that. But what you may be going to school for is what 0.5% of the population is going to school for. A lot of people I speak to, at least in my area, they have nothing figured out. They're just I'm going to go undecided. I'm going to go for a business major, kind of figure it out and see what I like in school, make new friends. I want to go there to drink, smoke, party. You went there, trying to be intentional with your time. Like you're you're like my brother. He's a rocket scientist by trade. That's his title at work. 4 years at Embry-Riddle School in Daytona Beach, Florida. It's all for space physicists and astronauts and pilots, things like that. And now he did his 4 years. I think he just graduated at Johns Hopkins, or maybe this year he's graduating. His graduate school. And for him, that was his path. Engineer, science, math, that's what he loves and what he loves to do. But you can agree to disagree, Anthony. You could have done everything that you did in college. Maybe not met the same people, but you could have been in the same spot. You could have been further. You could have been a little bit behind. We don't know. Everything happened for you, and it all laid out. But in my opinion, you could be 100 steps ahead, 1,000 steps ahead, if you saved your money, didn't go to school, if you weren't around those kind of people that were challenging your beliefs. Why do you want to be around people that challenge your beliefs when you could be around people that are going to, not saying we all have to believe in the same thing, but people that will fuel your beliefs and what you believe is like, hey, I want to go make money. I want to work for myself. I want to be in, a room with a bunch of winners and people, producing at a high level. You could have had that same, or if not a better outcome, in my opinion, if you didn't go to school. And I could be completely wrong, but that's just from my experience in sales. It's freedom. I don't have to spend money to be here. I don't have to, invest into books and things that aren't making money directly. But I would love to hear what you have to say about that.
I think we're on the same page. When I say they challenge my beliefs, people changed my worldview. It expanded my realm of possibility. But I will say the number one best thing, I went to a top 15 school in the entire country. So it was, it's similar to a Johns Hopkins. It's similar to an Ivy League. And so what do you get there? You get people who are the most competitive, uber driven in the entire world. And being surrounded in that environment and comparing yourself to this person here and this person here, it tells you that you got to pick up your effing game.
I love that.
Otherwise, you're going to get screwed. But it's the exact same thing. What it sounds like in your situation, you're surrounded by people that I mean, it's sales, it's life insurance, bro. Everything is measured in competition. And so that rises you up to the top. I don't disagree that if I went into sales and I studied that craft 4 years ago and didn't go to college, holy shit, I'd be making a ton of money right now. And it is what it is. At the time, did I know that I didn't want to do that? Well, another thing I want to say is you mentioned that a lot of times people go to college and they're still figuring it out. One of the amazing things about college, in my opinion, is I was able to work a bunch of different jobs and a ton of different internships. And I found out very quickly what I liked and what I didn't like. And I understood I liked sales, and I understood I hated like Excel bullshit like that and sitting at a desk. And so that was a competitive advantage or some positive thing for me that I experienced. But I do see your point, and I don't disagree with it at all. And I'm glad we can.
I
have
think
this-
your intentions, you got to be intentional. You going to school at a top 15 school, like you were there for the right reasons. Like I'm kind of speaking about the demographic, and you guys all know who you are. You're watching this, the demographic of like, I want to go and party and have sex with all these, like, just that's what they're going to school for. And they're not going for the right reasons. And in my opinion, those kind of guys, even if they went to school for the right reasons,
Yeah.
it's still pointless for them, because the same guys that have that, like, I want to go out and, sell weed or flip this or flip shoes. It's like they have that entrepreneur spirit and mindset. They just have to be around the right people that are going to help apply that in the areas that are, necessary. So I totally agree. I'm very happy that we just talking about that, because it's a very, very good point. Seriously.
Let's touch base on bread and butter of sales right here. Something that I absolutely love, which is influence and persuasion. So I'm sure that you're a student of human nature and you've done a little bit of reading, but I'm just trying to wonder. So before this, I asked ChatGPT, I said, I'm about to interview someone that sells life insurance. And I assume that this person will try to use influence and persuasion tactics like any salesman or woman would. And so I said, what are the most common in influence tactics that a life insurance person would do? And ChatGPT said, the first one, framing mortality without saying death. Does that ring a bell? Does anything around death, like, do you try to sell death to some extent?
It depends on the product that you're selling in life insurance. So we also sell final expense insurance, and we really try to create that why, and maybe not use the necessarily like the particular word death, but we say like die, like, or pass away, like, sir, you will pass away. So if you get, like, the example I always give, if you have a $10,000 policy at $1,000 a year and you survive for 11 years, that policy's paid up once you put in that 10 grand. But if the bill's coming anyway, that funeral expense, it will come, whether you pay it all in full in however many years from now, or if you, slowly pay every single month. And I say, if you pass away after year 4, you've put in 4 grand, you still have $6,000 extra on that death benefit that's passed down to your family. So we really stress that to clients, like, look, this is, it's inevitable. You will die.
And I mean, before I go through the rest,
with that, I don't try to like use a word like mortality. I'm like, you will die. Like, we all know it. Like, sir, we're both adults. Is that like, that's a good thing too? It's like, sir, are me and you? I mean, we're both adults. You would agree? So like, I don't know why you're like not believing the fact that you're going to die. Like, sir, you will die. It's either you take care of this now or you're going to take care of it later.
yeah. I mean, like, before we just get into the rest of these, like, when I say influence persuasion, like, you as a salesman, what are some of the tips and tactics that you use that any person that's listening to this right now that wants more control or power or to just be more persuasive in their life can use?
It's confidence. You got to know the product. You got to know the industry. You got to know the bells and whistles. If you've done it so many times, you will become confident because you know what you're talking about. If I tell you the sky is blue, I'm very confident when I say that because I've seen it with my eyes. It's living proof. It's just facts. If you know the product that you're selling, you're going to be more convicted. You're going to be more confident because there's nothing they could ask you or tell you that you wouldn't know or don't know how to answer or don't know how to, put them in a better position.
So you're just trying to be an expert about everything you're doing, and you're not even thinking about subtle tactics to push.
Yeah, not even. I mean, you also have to understand, and there's a lot of different agents, or a lot of agents that will have a different experience than us. It's also the leads that you're buying. If you're going to go buy these crappy 50-cent leads or try to get a discount on leads, like, the leads are like people that you call. If you spend the money, you're going to get people who actually, like, they're inquiring about this information. Like when I call people, I don't really get a lot of objections. It's like people who actually want the product. Like I've built such a bulletproof system that, like, I'm not sitting here like, oh, well, I'm worried they're going to say this. It's like they know they need this. I'm the person I'm the only option that they have as of right now, because I'm calling their phone because they filled out my request. They're requesting for me to call them and help them with this stuff. And I don't really have to pull any sales tactics. There's objections we have to overcome. Don't get me wrong, but I don't try to oversell or try to pull a fast one and try to beat around the bush. Like you asked about life insurance. You filled out one of my requests. Here's the information that you requested. Is this affordable for you? Okay, great. Let's see if we can get you approved. I'm not trying to like beat around the bush here. I'm just going to be very blunt with them. Here's what we're going to do. Okay. So don't give me that objection of, oh, I don't want to give you that information 5 minutes from now, because I told you I'm going to ask you for that. I'm going to ask for your social in the next 5 minutes. So when I ask you for it, don't be like, oh my God, I didn't know you were asking. I'm very direct, and they respect that.
Okay. Yeah. So you're setting expectations at the front, dude. I can see right now. Do you yell at people on the phones? I can see you being very, very direct and confrontational.
Yeah, well, like how I'm talking now is how it's like. I'm just very confident. I get very fired up because it's like, for me, it's so easy, and I see that like no one's doing this, but it just works. Like it just works. And you got to pick up on social cues. There's a time and a place. You don't, overstep. The very sweet old lady who answers the phone. You're not going to be like, ma'am, like you got to do this now. Like, oh, no worries. Like you just got to pick up on the social cues and know your crowd, know your audience, know who you're talking to. And when it comes time, you got to be able to be firm. And my firmness comes with confidence. I'm confident that this person needs this product because he just told me about a situation, and this will help you. This product will help you and your family get a better position.
So the other day I was on my phone and a reel popped up. I don't know if you know what Poppy is, but it's like the
soda,
new soda,
like the sparkling water.
Yes, exactly. And so it was the founder of Poppy talking about he quit his job and he's in his kitchen at his house with his wife just building this startup, and it's starting to go really bad and they're running out of money. He has to pay his mortgage and he doesn't have money to do it. And he was talking about, in the moment, he was thinking, should I just go back to work? Like, should I keep this as a side hustle, not focus this on my main thing, and should I go back to work? And that day, he got something in the mail that was a tax return or refund from whatever, from the government. And it was just enough to pay his mortgage. And he's like, boom, this is a sign I need to keep going. I'm trying to understand you and your journey. Were there times where you didn't do college, you didn't do the real estate, you're working in life insurance? Did you have that Poppy moment where you're saying, I don't know if this is it. Like I should go do something else? Did you ever experience that?
When everyone on this podcast who's watching this right now, you need to understand, the only way you fail is if you quit. Anthony, I thought about quitting more times today. Like in this moment in time, I've thought, in the last 4.5 years of my career, I've thought about quitting more than I thought about staying. In the last 2 years, 2.5 years, it's been a lot. It's been zero at this point, because you get to a certain level where you just can't quit. Like you have something so big that you really can't quit. But yeah, man, I thought about quitting in the beginning so many freaking times, because it's when you try something for so long and you really believe in it and you really put everything into it and still it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You got it, like Kevin O'Leary says, take it behind the barn and shoot it. But for me, that was only my first 2 years. That wasn't, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. I like really struggled, but I was just with the wrong company. I was with the wrong systems. Didn't have any leads. Like it was a lot of things that I couldn't necessarily prevent and make it better, because nobody in my company was doing it, and need someone to like coach you, mentor you through that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've thought about quitting way more times than I thought about staying, man.
I mean,
tough.
what, and it's actually crazy you say that, because that is literally the quote that I repeat to myself every single day. It's impossible to quit, or it's impossible to fail if you never truly give up. And that's what,
and to answer your question, no, I never had that moment. I never had that like, holy shit, I just got paid, $20,000 and it's going to keep me in the business and my bills are paid.
Yeah.
I worked in my parents' basement. I still live with my parents. I worked in my parents' basement. Had the whole basement. We lived in a very, very nice house, and the whole basement not used as like a call center or an office. It wasn't like huge, but it worked for 5 or 6 people. I worked in my parents' basement. I had 0 bills. I didn't go out for food and drive my car around because I would sleep upstairs and work downstairs. So it was like I didn't have like a fire under my ass that I had bills to pay, and I had like a quota to hit or like a deadline because I was comfortable, really.
Yes.
And I didn't have that aha moment. I'm just very hard on myself. And I just kept telling myself, like, I will, as a man, I cannot live with myself if I quit. Like, really what kept me in the business was I put so much into it: money, time, effort, blood and sweat and tear equity, whatever you want to call it. And like, I didn't want to lose that. That's what kept me in the business. I kept digging myself in a deeper and deeper hole because I made no money. It kept getting longer and longer and longer and longer, making no money. And I just was like, I'm a pussy. That's what I told myself. I'm like, I'm literally a bitch if I quit. Like, and I never quit. I could never live with myself as a man. And it just, it wasn't like that. Woke up one day like, holy shit, I just made a ton of money. Everything changed. I just kind of stepped back and said, like, there's something I'm not doing right. Like, these guys are making 40, 50, 60, 150 grand in a month. And I'm sitting here at 5 grand a month. Like, what am I doing? Or what am I not doing? And I had to really step back and reevaluate. I started with horrible habits and like, it's not, the script doesn't sound like me, thinking I could do everything on my own. And I started really bad habits, and it took me a very long time to get out of that, bad habit. And that's what took me so long to really take off and start making money. I forget what
You mentioned a little bit ago that you killed the person that you killed the Dylan 4 years ago. Completely different person. Help me understand who that person was 4 years ago and what's changed.
Very excited, very eager, very impatient, very cocky, very, had a big head and like, because they would sell me a dream, my old company. You're going to make 10 grand a month. I'm walking around like, I'm going to make 10 grand a month, everyone. Like, I was just kind of that guy, and with nothing to prove it, nothing to show for it. And, that person I had to kill, I think the main thing about that person I killed was, just the lack of coachability, thinking I knew it all. I'm like, I made no money in this industry. I'm sitting here like I knew it all. Like, shut the F up and just shut your mouth and listen to the people that are doing it. Like, clearly they're doing something right and you're not, if they're making 100 times what you're doing in a month. So I was like, okay, let me, like, eventually I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I had to take that step back and eventually kill that old Dylan and say, like, this is the leak in my system. This is the leak in my business that I've identified. And all I have to do is patch that leak and continue to move forward. It's way easier said than done, but it's a big routine change.
And so if I'm looking in the future, like 5, 10, 15 years, what does that look like?
Go for me specifically?
For you. Yeah, for you.
I got a lot of big plans. My goal realistically in the next, I would say 5 years, is to sell my agency, because you could build a big book of business in life insurance and you could sell it. When I say sell, I don't mean like I'm selling my company and I'm not the CEO anymore. You sell your book of business to like another bigger carrier, like a bigger like marketing organization, and they'll buy your book of business. You're still required to like be involved with the business, and like, I'm not going to sell my team off. It's not like that, but you can essentially like sell your book of business for equity and for like real money in cash. So in 5 years, I plan to do that. In 10 years, I plan to really, I don't know if I should be saying this on air, but I really plan to open my own like IMO, like my own insurance marketing organization, like the one I'm with right now. I plan to do that. And then in 15 years, my 15-year plan is to be a public speaker. I just get paid $1 million an hour to go out to different events and speak.
And before this advice that you gave me at dinner, I completely, we have to touch base on this advice right here before we wrap this thing up. But I asked you a question when we met. I said, what's the best piece of advice that Patrick Bet-David gave you? And you gave me the answer that was,
do I have permission to be direct with you?
And why is that so life-changing?
It's such a career-changing, life-changing, change the trajectory of everything. Sir, do I have permission to be direct with you? 2 minutes later, they're like, "Oh, I was a little harsh. Sorry, I thought I had permission to be directed." I mean, I can kind of lie to you, and I can, you know, kind of code it up with a few things and beat around the bush. But like, as long as if you want me, yeah, I have no problem doing that. I don't want to offend you. But I thought you told me I had permission to be directed to you. Is that correct? Okay, yes, Dylan. Because then once you break down what it means to be direct, I can beat around the bush. I can kind of white lie and like not tell you the full truth and kind of half truth and leave a couple parts out just to make it sound better for you. Or do you want me to be brutally honest and brutally direct with you? And like, as long as if you're cool, as long as if you're okay with me being direct, and I can tell you everything about this plan and this product, the good, the bad, the ugly, what it'll cost you, the fee, everything. As long as if I have permission to do that, I'm going to be completely open and honest with you the entire time. And forgive me, this is who I am. And they're like, okay, great.
So you actually said something earlier. It's like, sir, like, we're adults, right?
Are we not
and
both adults?
It's the same principle as this. Like, do I have permission to be direct? Essentially, like, you're just setting expectations at the start, getting some sort of agreement, so then you can say whatever you want and come back. Because otherwise, that person could be like, "Oh, I'm a hypocrite. Like, I already gave this guy permission." It's actually genius. And when you told me that, today I had a meeting with one of my team members, and I told him, like, "Do I have permission to be direct?" And then I said something about what's going on with the software that we're using and its performance. There was this girl that I know who was crashing out probably a month ago. And I'm like, I just need to tell this girl something straight right now. And I said, "Do I have permission to be direct?" And she's like, "Of course. Like, I love when people are direct with me." And then boom, you just hit it with them. It's fucking genius.
And
If anybody takes
yes, do I have permission to be direct? Yes. In sale, it's all about getting the yeses. Is the sky blue? Yes. Are you a man? Yes. Like, just get him saying yes.
And do you have any other phrases, or because that is it's like a psychology phrase, I guess, but do you have any other things that you say that are in your repertoire that can really, really, really change someone's life as a leader? This is something that is going to help people have different conversations and be a leader. What other phrases do you have that you use?
I love, "Do I have permission to be direct with you?" I love, "Are we both adults?" Gets them saying yes in the very early in the beginning, but you could also kind of like call them an idiot. You know, I'm like, "Sir, you're not going to get $100,000 policy for $50 a month. Like, you're 92 years old. Like, it's just not happening." Like, we're both adults, right? Like, I think we both know as adults that it's unrealistic. It's not going to happen. So that's a great line to use. Do I have permission to be direct? Do I have permission to be brutally honest with you? I mean, you're putting me on the spot, so there's not, first things. It's more of like in the moment that are kind of, tucked away. There's that. That's a loaded question. There's not one or two or three specific, like off the top of my head. I always just have that one in my at my disposal.
Yeah. You should really look into the concept, which is it's like negative and positive association. So let's just say we're talking, and I need my team member to have really good attitude, or I need my team member to do more work than I tell them to do. Well, I'll start the call and be like, I'll find someone that he doesn't like or someone he likes. For example, let's say he likes Patrick Bet-David. I'll go, "Dylan, you're my employee. Dylan, you know something that I really like about Patrick Bet-David is he's always willing to go the extra mile. Like, he's always willing to do something that, is people don't even ask him to do it, and he goes like that." And it's like people like us, like we're on that wavelength, and we have that, and we do that type of stuff. And there's a lot of people out there that aren't like us, that are lazy, and they're just going to do the bare minimum to get by. Doing something like that right there gives this guy an identity, sets expectations, and now he almost feels like he has to live up to what I told him just to do. So it's a really, really wise thing. I mean, you can use that on any employees, people you're friends with, family. That. You can use that with people that you're on the phone with life insurance and trying to sell. Whatever, if you ever want someone to act a certain way, you can either compare it to someone that they like that does that, or do a negative. And the negative is even more powerful. And that's just going to give them expectations. But anyway, the last question I have for you, and it was actually submitted from a follower that we have, is how has your life gone to plan so far? What's the farthest off track you have ever been? And how did you get back on track and find a purpose to your calling?
Shout out whoever asked that question. What a thought out. I love good questions like that. So, to be brutally honest, as I know I have permission to be direct with all you watching, Nothing in my life is a part of the plan that I had, except I'm in the life insurance space. That is the only thing. And opening an office, like big plans like that. But the way I thought it was going to happen, it's the complete opposite of what I thought. And it's completely off trajectory. Am I in a position that I want to be in? Yes. Am I as far as I want to be? No, I'm never going to be as far as I want to be. I could have 100 billion in the bank. It's still not enough. That's just the kind of person I am. And no, it's not to plan. And the farthest off plan that the farthest plan or the farthest I am from the plan that I've had was I'm in Jersey. I thought I was going to be in San Diego. I thought I was going to open up an office out in California with my sister. That was really the plan from the very, very beginning for, years. And, that changed. I had to move out for a little bit to get, away from kind of my family, my friends, not that there was anything wrong, but, the same way that your friends may not respect what you do and may not believe in what you do. It's the same thing here. Like my friends see me as that younger person. So I had to move out, with my sister for a few months, moved out there, got better coaching, training, mentorship. And the plan was to open up an office there. I flew back home to Jersey and nothing has been a part of the plan since, since I've started. Really nothing has been a part of it, but that's the beautiful thing. It's like the blonde billionaire, that guy, what's his name? What's his name? It's some big billionaire guy, Richard Branson. He said, if somebody offers you an opportunity and you don't know if you think you'll be good enough, just try it and fail and figure it out along the way. That is the story of my business. That's the story of my career, where I just had no idea what I was doing. I just failed enough times to be like, okay, that's not right. That's right. Do this, don't do this. And just kind of build my own puzzle pieces and figure it out. Which, don't be like me. Listen to your mentors. If that person's in a position that you want to be in, truly listen to every damn word he or she says, and you'll be, I'm telling you right now, 100 times ahead of them in a quarter of the time frame. It's every single one of my guys. They are 100 times ahead of I am in a quarter of the time frame, because they listen to everything I did right and everything I did wrong. And I explained it all.
Well said, Dylan. Well, we'll end on that. And where can people find you if they want to?
On all social media, every single piece of social media is Smooth Finance. SMOOVE. It's like smooth with a VE. Smooth_finance.
Amazing. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed that. If you learn one thing, do I have permission to be direct? Use it as much as you can. And with that being said, take care, everybody.
I am a huge dreamer, and because of that, the Gross Potential team set 2 very big goals to hit by December 31st, 2025. Number 1 is to hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, and number 2 is to drop the number of people who watch our show but don't subscribe to us down from 92% to 80%. So the only favor I will ever ask is that if you get value from the show, or get entertainment, or a new fire lit up inside of you, please hit that subscribe button, because it supports us in the best way possible.